Imagine a global bank that balances $300 billion to the absolute penny every single night. If a single cent is missing, alarms go off, systems lock down, and auditors stay awake until sunrise. But behind that marble lobby, the entire treasury matching engine relies on a single 15-year-old Excel spreadsheet stored on a desktop computer, sitting under an empty desk in Ohio with no backup, no disaster recovery, and the only guy who knows the password retired to Florida 3 months ago.
That is terrifyingly real. Welcome to the human workforce. I am Simon Carver, and today we are tearing down the corporate drywall. I am joined by our resident tech strategy expert Chris J. Murphy, our brilliant behavioral strategist Jacques San Dimas, and our favorite Aussie systems wrangler Lachlan Reed. Before we dig into why the world is held together by digital duct tape, do us a quick favor. Hit that subscribe button, leave us a 5-star rating, and share this episode with a colleague who currently has 19 critical spreadsheets open. It really helps us keep bringing you these deep dives. Now, Lachlan, why is this contrast so common?
Because the marble lobby is what gets you the investment, mate. It is what we call Ritz-Carlton on the outside, crack house on the inside. You spend $50 million on a gorgeous customer app and executive boardrooms with fancy automatic espresso machines. But when the engineering team asks for $500,000 to upgrade legacy servers that are literally gasping for air, they get told to stretch them another year. Appearances are cheap compared to actual, deep-down operational resilience.
It goes back to what we measure. Money is a hard metric. If a transaction fails, it shows up on a ledger instantly. But operational risk lives in the world of probabilities. It is future pain. In my experience, both in commercial kitchens and global infrastructure, human beings are terrible at preparing for future pain. We will spend millions on a beautiful dining room, but refuse to spend $5,000 fixing the exhaust hood in the kitchen until the grease catches fire and burns the building down.
That distinction between immediate pain and future probability is exactly where the illusion thrives. Leaders love certainty. They will happily fund a project with a clear, short-term ROI, but risk management is about funding things so that nothing happens. And to a board of directors, paying $1 million for nothing to happen looks like an unnecessary expense on a balance sheet. Let me give you a concrete example of this. A few years ago, we did a technology risk review for a massive financial institution. Their offshore customer support center relied entirely on virtual desktops. We discovered that every single one of those virtual desktops was hosted in one physical data center, running on a single set of network circuits with absolutely no geographic diversity. A textbook single point of failure. We flagged it, documented it, and warned them.
One single data center for thousands of critical customer reps. What was the executive response when you handed them that report?
The exact words were, "We don't think that is likely to happen." They accepted the risk because fixing it meant building a secondary site, which would cost $400,000. So they chose to hope instead of build.
$400,000 to prevent a complete customer blackout. And how long did that hope last them?
Exactly 8 years. For 8 years, they got away with it. Then, a localized power grid failure knocked that single data center offline. For 4 straight days, thousands of offshore agents could not log in. Customer wait times went from 2 minutes to 5 hours. It cost them millions in regulatory fines and lost business. The exact scenario we predicted 8 years prior.
8 years of running on borrowed time. This is just like the story of the D-Day weather forecast in June of 1944. Group Captain James Stagg, the chief meteorologist, had to tell General Eisenhower that a massive storm was coming, and they needed to delay the entire Allied invasion. Other meteorologists disagreed because they wanted the invasion to go ahead. The pressure to ignore the bad news was immense.
Stagg had to stand his ground against military commanders who had millions of men on the move. That is emotional risk management in its purest form. When the pressure to succeed is high, the expert who brings inconvenient facts is treated like an enemy. We punish the messenger because we cannot face the reality of the threat.
Spot on, Jack. It is easier to ignore the bloke pointing at the crack in the foundation than it is to dig up the yard and fix the concrete. But this is where I reckon technology might actually save us from our own egos. What happens when we throw generative AI into these messy, hidden risk registers?
This is the real opportunity. AI's greatest value to an organization isn't writing emails faster, it is radical visibility. Imagine an AI agent continuously scanning code bases, server logs, third-party contracts, and risk registers, then compiling an unfiltered, objective truth map of the organization's vulnerabilities.
An unfiltered truth map. Think about the politics that normally sanitizes those risk reports as they climb the corporate ladder. Middle managers spend weeks watering down bad news so they do not upset the vice president. And AI does not have a career to protect. It does not feel fear. It just reports the cold, hard numbers.
Exactly. You can't sweet-talk an AI into changing critical risk to minor observation just because it is a Friday afternoon and you want to go home. It exposes the crack house behind the Ritz-Carlton lobby directly to the board, completely bypassing the corporate filtration machine.
And that is the real blueprint for the future. The organizations that survive the next decade won't be the ones with the slickest marketing, but the ones willing to look in the mirror that AI holds up to them. If you found today's discussion valuable, please take 10 seconds to subscribe, share this with your team, and leave us a review. Let us start building a workforce where truth is welcomed, not buried. I am Simon Carver, here with Jacques, CJ, and Lachlan. Thank you for listening to The Human Workforce. Keep it real out there, and we will see you next time.